you might ask, how the hell do I work with people if I don't know what my niche is, if I can't speak to their problems and challenges and all those stuff? Once you do this, I have a very strong feeling it'll be at least 200 plus people that you will have. Most people won't promote you because they don't know what the hell you're doing with being a coach or a business owner or whatever the hell you're offering. If you are one of those coaches, you haven't hit 100,000, stop looking for niche, start connecting with people around you and letting them know what you're offering experientially. This sounds like a tedious process. A lot of people are looking for shortcuts. Trust me, there are no shortcuts. There are better and worse ways to do this. Welcome, Coaches Nation, to the Coaches Journey podcast. I'm your host, Faisal Insan, and usually it's Daniel with me, but he's not here today. And we're going to be talking about stop working on your niche, coaches. And I know it sounds a little bit controversial, and a lot of marketers and trainers and people who are telling you to build your business, one of the first things they tell you, what's your niche? Who are you targeting? Who are you reaching out to? And you might hear phrases like riches are in the niches. Some people say ditches are in the niches. So either one could be true. But today we're going to talk about, especially if you're starting out as a coach or you haven't hit your six-figure mark as a business owner, as in you haven't made $100,000 in a given year, this is for you. And even if you've hit that $100,000 mark, we can talk a little bit about why having a niche after that is much more important. And are you working on that? And you can still continue to do what you're doing, but maybe the niche piece is important then. But we'll talk about, first of all, stop working on niche, because every coach in the past, I think, month or so that I've met over, I don't know, 20, 30 coaches that I've talked to, every one of them that has come, well, I don't know my niche and I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. And almost always the response I hear comes with this a full load of guilt that I haven't worked on it fully. I don't really know my niche. And if I go back to when I was starting out, that's exactly what I was saying. That was 10 years ago, and it hasn't changed much. And I'll tell you why most coaches say that with a hint of guilt. And guilt doesn't come from them. They take it way too seriously. And when I was starting out, all the first 2 years, all I kept talking about is, well, I don't know my niche. I don't know how to who to reach out to. So I don't know how to sell my programs. All garbage, bullshit. None of that was true. I just, in my head, I thought that, and it wasn't even my thoughts. It was given to me by a bunch of amazing marketers. And that's where the challenge comes in, is that working on your niche, yes, is a business thing, but it's more of a marketing thing. And our approach in Coaching Mastery Community is to actually focus most of your effort, 90% of your efforts, towards your sales process rather than marketing. Is marketing important? Well, yes, of course it's important, because if you don't market yourself, if you don't put yourself out there in front of people, nobody knows who you are and what you're about and what you're offering. So the 10% of the marketing for coaches, from what I've seen, the most useful piece of that is to put yourself out there. And that can be on social media, that can be in person, that can be in groups, that can be in all kinds of places. The point of that marketing is to just for people to know that you're there, that you have something to offer. You're a coach, you're a business. Once you've done that part, 90% of your efforts are going to be in the sales process. And this is where the breakdown happens, because most marketers will tell you to find your niche. And the reason why people find their niche and why they need to work, coaches need to work on them, business owners need to work on them, because it directs your focus and effort in the marketing process. I'm not saying it's a negative thing to know your niche. If you already know it, congratulations, great. It'll focus your efforts. But if you don't know it, and a majority of coaches who get started, who build their business or who want to build their business, they're struggling with this process. And most of them don't know what the hell their niche is. And they will kind of think through the model of, oh, maybe I should work with people who are like me, or maybe people who have the same psychographics or demographics as me, people who have come from the same profession as me. And those are the models that are taught. Or maybe I should pick out a niche and research and who can afford my product and service, and I can just market to them. And to be honest, all those answers can be true. And ultimately in business, you got to test all those things. But and again, I'm right now I'm speaking to people. If you're a coach who hasn't hit at least 100,000 every year, then you need to pay close attention to this. You don't need a niche. Is it going to be helpful? Yes. Initially, you don't need it. You will naturally know which niche to go towards. once you start working with people, well, you might ask, how the hell do I work with people if I don't know what my niche is, if I can't speak to their problems and challenges and all those stuff? Well, again, those are things promoted by marketers. And I'm not a marketer. I'm a coach who has understood how to build a business that's sustainable. And I work with many people. And how have I done that? I've done it through sales process. And I'm a high performance coach. I'm not a business coach per se. Yes, I am a business coach, but that's not how I got started. So what does that mean? That means, yes, you need to know your niche if you are doing a lot of high level marketing stuff, but most of your work on making money is going to be in the sales process, which means that niche is not going to be the biggest problem for you. The biggest problem for you is how are you putting yourself out there, which is marketing, and how many people are going through your sales process, which you can call that a funnel in the marketing world. The major part of this is that you need to work if you're marketing yourself, you're just putting yourself out there, and then the rest of it is a sales process. What about, I mean, and here's what we recommend within our community. You need to learn to tap into your network. And a lot of people hesitate because, like, well, nobody's going to understand what I'm doing in my network. There are a lot of unsupportive people. Trust me, there are a few people who are going to support you in your network. And by your network, I mean a lot of people. Like, make a list of, and this is what somebody like Alex Hormozi might say, and which I agree with them. Make a list of all the people that you know. And this is a very standard sales process, and a lot of people hesitate to do this. Make a list of everybody that you know. Start with, and I want you to think about three categories. First category are people you know very well. You have established trust and relationship with them, and you know that they will be there to support you when you can. Some people hesitate to even build that list, but build it out. If you only have a few people or no people, then you better work on your relationships, whether professional or personal. Second list of people are those that you have built a relationship and trust with them at some point. It could be old coworkers, it could be old friends, it could be people you've met in different conferences, but you haven't reached out for a while. That's the second list. Third list is people that are in any of your contact lists, your phone, your messenger, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that stuff. If once you do this, I have a very strong feeling it'll be at least 200 plus people that you will have. Now, of course, you start with this list of people that you know the most. Now, a lot of people might say, well, I don't want to reach out to those people and sell my coaching to them. You don't need to. What you will do is you're going to start having conversations with them, that letting them know that you're starting this new path, or you declare yourself to be a coach, and you want it. And an easy way, one of the strategy might be is, hey, you wanted their perspective on how you could promote this. If you could get a few minutes of their time to help you understand how you can promote this thing that you're trying to do, this business or this coaching process. And you're asking them for help. And the help is that if you could share some perspective with me as to how I do this. Now, if that person is a professional, you tell them a little bit about what you're doing, and you ask them about, like, how do you think I could promote this? And they might not know anything about business or anything, but they might give you a lot of ideas. And really, you're not doing this as a covert tactic to sell something to them. Don't do that. In that conversation, one of the things that you will understand once you have a few of those conversations, that you will struggle to communicate this process, and they will challenge you. They will ask you questions, and then you will get better and better at this process. But what you're doing is you're getting them to help you promote this stuff. And inevitably, they're going to say, I don't know what the hell this thing is that you're offering. And that's when you're going to say, can I offer like a couple of free sessions or one session? And it could be a completely free session. It will help you understand what it is. And that's equivalent to somebody who built a product like a phone or like a mouse or any kind of product. And it's like, can you test out my product and give me feedback? So they're going to give you feedback. So you're not even going to sell to them. They might buy it from you, but let's say you take them through one or two sessions, and you ask them at the end, what was your biggest insight at the end of that? What is the value that you got? You don't even need to make an offer to them, but they will tell you whether or not that was valuable or not, and ask for feedback from them. And then at the end of the process, you can ask them, is there anybody who might get value from a process like that around you? That's where referrals come in. So the main, and that's just one way out of 50 different ways you can do this. That's a way for you to tap into your network. That didn't require you to understand niche, because you're going to interact with all kinds of people in your network, and maybe through this process you're going to understand what kind of people you like working with. So I get it. This sounds like a tedious process. A lot of people are looking for shortcuts. Trust me, there are no shortcuts. There are better and worse ways to do this. And but the key that I'm trying to share is that you don't really need to know your niche to start reaching out to people and connecting with people. And you might have 200 plus people or 50 plus people that you can reach out to, share what you're doing, and take them through your process so they can become the people that promote what you do. And that's essentially how I got some of my first few clients. I reached out to my friends. I remember a couple of my friends I would share with, and they trust me and I trust them. And I would ask them for feedback, like, how do I promote this? And I'm trying to start this. I had a hard time explaining, but eventually I got frustrated. I'm like, can I just take you through this? Can we do a couple of sessions just so you know what it is? Give them a sample, and at the end of it, both of them are like, this is incredible. And I was like, can we do some more sessions? I want to help you out. I didn't charge them. Like, and then after 2-3 sessions, they're like, how can I help you? How can I promote this? And they didn't know what to say, but like, can you just talk about what you gain out of it with people? And at the time I didn't know. So I was like, just tell people about it and maybe they'll connect with me. Now what I would say is tell people about it. And if they seem interested, connect me with them and I'll continue the conversation. So the process was to help them understand this is what I do experientially, not just telling them about it, but they are experiencing what it is. It would be very similar to if whatever product, I have so many products around me, this thing, I do this. I would let people use it on their clothes so they can get rid of some flint. And they'll be like, what do you think about the product? Would you promote this to somebody? Would you buy this? What might be your feedback? Well, the handle is really bad, or this thing is not getting the lens off. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can make improvements here. You will get a lot of feedback and data, and in the process, hey, if if I created a link for this, would you want to promote this to the people around you? Do you think it would be valuable? It's like, oh, for sure, I would. But most people won't promote you because they don't know what the hell you're doing with being a coach or a business owner or whatever the hell your offer is. You have a lot of people that would want to promote what you're doing if they get value from it or if they see the value in it. And you don't need to sell to the people closest to you, but they don't need to know what the hell you're offering. And for that, they need to experience your coaching, which is why I'm drawing the analogy that your services is similar to products that you would sell, except you've kind of wrapped that service into who you are and you get scared and all sorts of things. But ultimately the market decides what the value of that product is. And again, you don't need a niche to do this. Now I'm going to talk a little bit to those who have built multi six-figure businesses and they're in a place where they're refining their niche and all that stuff. Yeah, that might be a place where you get to 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, you start to think about what your niche is. For example, my niche is multifamily investors, one of the niches. Second niche is coaches. I work with all sorts of people, but those are the people from a marketing point of view that I focus on. I run ads for coaches, or I get somebody to run ads for coaches. I organically promote myself within groups that are multifamily investors. Why do I do that? Well, that directs my efforts. I get my team to work to promote myself in those groups and communities and events that are related to that. Right now, I'm talking to coaches, so I know what your challenges are. A lot of coaches will be thinking about niche, and they keep feeling bad that they don't have a niche. You don't need a niche, and so I'm speaking to a specific struggle for coaches. Now, why have I picked this medium to talk to you? Well, I don't necessarily get clients through this podcast process. This is a value add for my community, but most of the clients that come into our community, I have conversations similar to what I'm sharing with you. And yes, we have gone more and more refined in our process, but we had to do a lot of experimentation, discovery, and all sorts of things to get there. We didn't need to know exactly who are the most ideal coaches for us to get started. We had to do that work and experiment. We're still experimenting, to be honest. So again, me talking to you, I'm talking to you as a business coach, as a mentor, not as necessarily as a high performance coach or a life coach or a transformational coach. But specifically, if you are one of those coaches, you haven't hit 100,000, stop looking for niche, start connecting with people around you and letting them know what you're offering experientially and asking for referrals. And those who have hit 100,000 plus, start thinking about niche, but don't stop doing what you're doing that's working, but start refining your niche further. And that's useful because that will direct your marketing efforts. And you do a little bit more marketing when you're when you have gotten some resources. You might hire somebody, you might be working with the setter, you might be working with the marketing agency, all kinds of stuff like that. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'm really tired. I've had a long day, but I'd love to hear from you. What was your biggest insight here? What is the thing that you're holding on to that will be useful for you? If you have any questions or thoughts, please post below so I can answer them personally. And you might get value from one of the videos somewhere out here. And the title is Why Most Coaches Make No Money. It's somewhere here. Click on it. You'll gain a lot out of it. Hopefully this was helpful. Please share your insights below. Please share and like this video too. Until my next conversation, hope you have an incredible day. Bye.